everybody. This is Funny Minds, and I'm your host, Lynn B., and my co-host, Edward Biss. And who are we going to have on our show today, Eddie?
Today we are featuring the one and only Mr. Sean Lowery, a.k.a. Mr. Sawblade Head. Sean is a multi-talented drummer, sound engineer, sculptor, male dancer, donut maker, and sugar intaker. So we're going to feature Sean today. Mr. Sean Lowery, thank you for joining us. He is a bandmate of mine for many years, and he is involved in a multitude of projects musically and has been for many years. And he also has his own Mr. Sawblade Head designed sculpting company that does a whole lot, and we're going to get into that later. But for now, let's welcome Sean to the show. What's going on, brother?
Hi, Sean. How are you? It's been a long time.
How are you guys been?
Good, very good. I finally retired. I'm part of that community, the retirement community. No, we're not going to get into that. We're not getting into that at all. Yeah, and I watch my grandson, and I have a lot of fun with him. And then I come down to Florida and do the podcast and see Eddie and everybody. So it's great.
Yeah, it's great to see you. I think the last time I actually saw you, I think, is when we played. Was it LA Hangout with the hit? Wasn't it? Yeah.
God, no. It's been no.
I really don't. I remember.
Is that the night you made out with my aunt?
No, I wasn't there then. I wasn't there. No, okay. That's not me. No. The last time I remember actually was we were at the Irish place. What was that Irish place?
Not talking about Murphy's.
Murphy's. That's what it was. Murphy's. Yes, that's the last time I remember. But did you guys do something down by the arena?
Yeah.
Maybe that was it.
Outside
yeah, maybe that was the last time. But
whatever it was called back then, the Ice Palace. We've done. Yeah. You and I have done a ton of gigs down there prior to hockey games and concerts and stuff like that.
Yep.
But Sean, give us basically a run through of where were you born, where did you come from, how did you get started in music, and take us on the journey.
I was born in a van down by the river. Right.
Okay.
Mailman. No, I was born in a small town here in Ohio. And
I wouldn't want to admit that either.
Yeah. But, music was always something I wanted to do, and it didn't happen until kind of later in my teens, after arguing with my parents from banging on the floor and pots and pans and joking, I'm going to get you, we're going to get you a drum kit. And I was like, hey, just so happens that there was this drum kit down at the local music store, and had saved up all my little allowances and dishwasher money. And I said,
boy money.
I'll buy it. And it took me about 6 months for them to finally convince, my parents that, hey, well, let me buy it this way. If I don't do anything with it, you guys aren't out the money. And I got that first kit. And then, within about a month, I snuck down there again and bought the other second half so I could have the double bass big kit without them knowing it. And then when they, about a month later, when they found out that it gave birth and it was double the size now, they were
oh my God.
There's never, with any musician, there's never, it starts here, but the end game is like somewhere in the stratosphere, and people just don't get that sometimes. But, so you started young, obviously, like the rest of us.
Yeah, 17. Actually, I thought I kind of started late. I started.
You started at 17?
Yeah,
that is late.
That is very late.
Yeah, it was funny. I was playing. I think it was like my junior year. I think it was going into my junior year, and I finally decided to try jazz band. And I'm like, I'm not a jazz drummer, and never, and they were doing the kind of like the auditions. And I remember the one drummer friend of mine, and it was like, hey, play a jazz beat. And I remember the jazz beat with the rise. Well, I play that in a rock version. So instead of the ride being, I'm doing the kick drum pattern. I'm just bashing away, totally just this rock guy in a jazz nerd, just like it was good, but it's not jazz. So, and I mean, the jazz for that era and that time, I did my best, but
jazz is like a whole different planet.
It's all a finesse that I don't have. Maybe some days when I get old, I'll look into jazz. But
get old. Are you in your music room? Is that what you're in right now? Is that your music room? You have your drums there?
Yeah. There's my electronic kit.
Yeah, there we go.
Look.
This is where the magic happens.
Look at that. Are you going to give us a little demonstration of how you flip your
penis?
All those things.
Sticks.
Your stick?
Are you serious? She's only been watching music since the 1908. And she doesn't know what drumsticks are.
I know.
Oh God! Maybe I do belong in the Villages.
The Villages, yeah, with a turquoise loofah.
Are you gonna do a little?
No, you do the little stick flip. There you go.
Yeah, look at that! You would make a great majorette. I could see you in the skirt and the whole thing marching. Yeah, there you go.
That's the next stage outfit.
So how did you wind up in Florida, and what when you got down to sunny crazy Tampa, what direction did you go in, and how did it start?
Well, I was doing the band thing in Ohio, and back in that time, obviously before the internet, you made your own flyers, you hit up cars, you did all that stuff. So my band, that stuff, and we were one of the bigger progressive metal bands in Ohio, and we were in between Sandusky, Huron was in between Toledo and Cleveland, and we did the whole U.S. Yeah, we did the whole Ohio circuit on up to Michigan and even Erie, Pennsylvania, and stuff like that. And got to the point, we were for 10 years.
Did you have Callahan brakes on your car?
Did you have the sign "Oh, hi, oh"? No. Yeah, you had that. Okay.
He was looking for hose, but that's about it.
Well, it was such a small town, and we got as big as we could, and also we had bigger ideas and bigger dreams than what the city had involved with music scenes and doing things in a bigger scale, festivals. They just didn't have that vision, and it got to the point where we hit that ceiling, and we couldn't do anything just because of the politics there. So we wound up. Everyone kind of went in their own directions. I was contemplating, California, but it was just so freaking expensive. I definitely wanted to go somewhere warm, and I was really leaning towards Vegas or Texas, but Florida was always a big thing because I had family and friends here. It was a huge metal market. Tampa Bay,
big time.
And so the things going on here. Plus, I was looking for jobs and stuff like that. And at the time, Thoroughbred Music was down here, and bought out by Sam Ash. But so when I eventually found out that I wanted to go, I went to Tampa Bay, got a job at Sam Ash, and moved down here and kind of started things up. And
which one? The Clearwater?
Yeah. Clearwater was there for about a little over 4 years. Audio.
I think every musician has worked for Sam Ash at one point in their life.
Yeah,
I worked for the one in Brooklyn.
Yeah, well, it's they're it's a really good network and a way to. It's a good company and
good way to get your hands on cheaper gear. Let's be honest, Sean. I just stole every guitar. I didn't steal. Let's put it that way. But when people would trade stuff in, and I wanted it, I would put it aside so no one could buy it.
Yeah. We don't want...
You still do the same thing.
Ooh, okay. Don't reveal our secrets. Yeah. You can go back and watch the podcast.
That's true.
Right. That's the first on a podcast.
Yeah. Oh, but I did back. Things have changed. I don't want to get on that whole thing, but things have changed with those companies. But back in the day, spiff programs and all sorts of free gear, and man, I had gotten so much from sales that I made as much money on the spiffs and the winning, so to speak, than I did with my my paycheck. And at that time, that stuff was great because I mean I was getting all sorts between audio gear, electronic drum kits. I mean, you name it. All that stuff has kind of gone away, but I was in it I think at a prime time, and then I moved on and started doing my audio recording again. Started working for myself and doing that and doing music and everything. But Sam Ash was a really great opportunity, and I wanted to go there to the musicians and collaborate with people, and just kind of, I was new to the area, so I thought was one of the best places to go ahead and branch out. So
well, maybe that's what you can do when you retire. You can go and run a Sam Ash.
No.
Yeah.
No.
No.
Okay.
Once you work at Sam Ash, that's it. It's kind of a move on point. It's not a stay there thing.
It's come once, never come back.
I'm never gonna bash Sam Ash. I love Sam Ash and all the guys that we know, and musicians and everybody there has throughout the years been awesome to us.
That's true.
James Creer, from Absolute Queen, longtime Sam Ash guy. And Michael's.
I think you all are. That's what I said before.
They're phenomenal.
Most musicians, yeah.
So who was musically, when you got down to Tampa, what was the breakout band for you?
So met my singer at the time. I was once again just talking with people, and the guy that was working there, Sean Correa, they needed a drummer for a gig. I had given them my VHS tape of demo stuff, and obviously knew that I could play. Did the gig, and I thought, well, it's like, yeah, I'll do the cover. I never did covers, so I'll do the cover stuff just to make some money and branch out, trying to find musicians to write with. And luckily, Sean was a really good songwriter, and then we started writing together, and then put together the band 727.
727, that's right.
And that was the funny thing too, is that obviously I was at Sam Ash. First thing they always ask when you right up to, hey, what's your name? Okay, well, what's your number? And then people give the number. So it's always 727. So when I was with that band and we were working on the new band, they were like, hey, we got to come up with names. And I just threw out saying, what about 727? And they were thinking it was like a police code, or there was some other meaning behind it.
Like 5150.
Or like a drink, 7 and 7, 7 to 7,
So
7 and 7, yeah.
It took them after about a couple hours. I finally was looking at them. I was like, "You guys don't know what 727 is?" They're like, "No." I'm like, "It's your freaking area code." And it totally went over their head. But it's just like, that was cool. It had a good ring to it, and it was that area from where we're from, so it represented. Yeah. And but we're one of the best, one of the top, cover bands. But what we had done, which was real successful, is that we did shows where, typical 3-hour set, 3 sets, cover band. We did a first set was covers. The second set was all the original show, because it's usually kind of at the prime time.
And then implement it and see how it goes over.
And then the third set, we did a combination of both. We did some covers, but then we threw in some of the originals, additional ones that we had, or maybe, your good friend that missed the first or second set came in. So we did a couple of those, and it was very successful. And it was a way to get the originals out and get paid with it versus going to doing an original show, somewhere.
Pay nothing. Or let you sell tickets to your friends.
Yeah.
If you're lucky.
Yeah. So it did that for, several years. I mean, 727 has been kind of defunct for several years now, but we do have a full album. Unfortunately, never got released. It's
the one I played on.
Yeah. So, well,
you played on his 7 to 7.
Yeah. Full scheduling thing. Everything was going well. Then everything kind of got. What had happened with that is that when the guitar player had left, Greg got real busy with bands. And then Brad had left and went to another band. I was like, well, I want to really, because that whole album was basically kind of a celebration of all the musicians in the area. So I thought, well, we don't have any time we have plenty of time to release this whenever we're ready. It was a celebration of 727 for 10 years. And I thought, well, I want to go out and celebrate the musicians in the area and grab people like Eddie did, his killer lead track. And I got different guitar players and bass players to come on in and fill the gap that I think Brad did most of the album, but I thought, let me just go back and get some good bass players as well to kind of like showcase, other than just a guitar player. And so we got the whole album recorded, and then we were talking about, okay, putting a band together just to do a few shows And it was just a scheduling thing. And it's just like, I was putting so much work, so much time
What
into
are you
it.
trying to say? I'm the new guitarist of 727. I just don't know it yet.
Sure.
What are you trying to say? There's always a hidden message with you.
So
it's either I want more candy or you're in another band.
No, so it's one of those things where I want that to get, want to go ahead and mix that. I just, as you know, when we conversations, I have so many things to do. It'll come out when I don't want to just release it and then that's the fizzle. That's it. I would rather have this thing done and then it comes out in 2023 and we do a big ass concert, and you know how I like to do concerts and things are over the top and stuff like that. So whatever I have to do, it has to be impactful and memorable, or what's the point? So I would rather have this thing sit on the shelf because the music is that good where I think I could release this at any year and there's still great songs.
It was really good from my memory. I mean, I laid these tracks down a little while ago, but it was bad.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what are you doing now? What's your thing now? I know you're with Crew. Yep.
Well, I've been a drummer for Nova Rex. They're celebrating, is it 37 years or going on 38 years?
37 years.
They've been playing 37. Is it the same group of people or have people come in and out?
I think it's two original, right?
And there's been Kenny Wilkerson is the original member, the bassist, founding member.
The bassist, okay.
Yeah, and we have a new documentary out. This is the second documentary, Engieer, Staying Cheesy. We've done basically.
What is the name of it? Wait, what is it?
The name of the documentary is It Ain't Easy Staying Cheesy. The first documentary is It Ain't Easy Being Cheesy. And it's all about,
so this is part two.
This is part two. Kind of like that, going where it left off, with the band in the 80s and everything else, and still moving forward to all the different band member changes and all the stuff that's been going on. New vocalist, myself, and also just kind of talking about that era. Kenny's lining up different film festivals that he's going to be releasing this to. He's in talks with Netflix and Hulu. He's got a deal. I'm not worried about that. It's just whether or not what other these streaming services that they want to do. Well, we want a Hulu exclusive, so it's just on. So he's taking care of that. He's actually going up to Indiana, where he's from, and he's going into his historical, over 100-year-old theater, and he's got he's doing a premiere up there, and then we're going to probably do another. We're going to do a premiere here.
You're not going to fly up for it?
What's that?
You're not going to fly up for it?
I'm looking. I'm think I'm going to try to go ahead and do that. Because this is the official premiere. We did a kind of an RSVP.
Is it a red carpet premiere?
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah, and it was just up in Orlando, right?
Yeah. So, and we want to do one here, either Clearwater or Tampa. We're looking at that right now. And then he's also looking to do the the CAM Festival, and even over in Colorado. I forget whatever the names are, but the two big ones. One in Colorado, and
Kansas, France.
Yeah, it's what he's actually looking to do that too.
You have
okay.
What the hell is it? New York, Tribeca Film Festival in New York City.
Yeah.
And then you have the LA one, which that's the porn one.
Yeah, because
you're going to be in that too, right?
What's that?
The porn.
Yes.
Awards. Was that tongue in cheek?
Yeah.
And you're doing something here the 3rd of November? Is that
5th of November?
5th. Okay.
Yeah. This is I'm an audio engineer by trade, and I work with my good friends at the Tap, and I basically worked with the owners and recreated their whole, basically live entertainment. And the owners, Greg Soner and Liz and Chris, they're huge music fans. It's a small bar with fantastic food, and they just love, and their karaoke business is slamming. So they've always liked
karaoke.
Oh, the karaoke business is
really?
That's my specialty.
You got to come on down. But he always loved, and I
played. Kind of playing. I got to be there.
Yeah, so I've always loved, we played there back with my cover bands and stuff like that. And, it wasn't, they just didn't have all the things that they needed. And slowly but surely, when I started taking things over, once you start hearing, oh my God, it can actually sound like this. Okay, well, it started to grow and grow, and Greg has invested a lot into it. And I was always talking about, man, it's like you got it's in their building is in a big plaza. And I was talking about we really need to do an outdoor music fest. And we wound up doing Tap Fest 3 years ago. Tap Fest is a biannual. It's every March and every November, and literally every single Tap Fest we've done has been bigger, more people every single time than Tap Fest 6.
So where is this going to be again?
This is at the Niagara Tap. It's in Largo, Florida.
Okay.
This is the outdoor big festival. And this is by far, this is going to be the biggest production they've ever done.
And Eddie's doing it, I understand too.
Yep, this is
Crew, yeah.
You're doing Crew?
Yeah, the Titans of Rock, which is an all tribute fest. It's going to be Scorpions, Joan Jett, Dio, Motley Crue, Iron Maiden. And then there's a party on the inside with my good friend Sinner, a really good rock and roll party band. So
excellent. Yeah, I seen that on the commercial and everything. They have a commercial out on it. Now, Cinder, is that an original band, or are they doing covers?
No, Cinder's a cover, but they play.
But they're awesome.
Really great rock and roll party band. I mean, it's nonstop energy. They play everything from country to what's the Rob Zombie's brother, Power Man 5000. They'll go from country to that, and
that's gonna be a blast.
Wow.
I'm excited.
Is it just one day? It's a whole weekend, or
one day?
Just one day, and it's free to the public, and it will get packed. And matter of fact, and the inside, when they start the inside show, band starts about 11:30 to like 3 because it's the time change. And it's literally, it's asses and elbows. It's so, you got
okay.
Yes, Tap Fest is a huge event that sounds amazing. I mean, if you want, like I said, you want that big concert feel and a small hometown type of festival. Tap Fest is about the best one, and then this one I said, we're bringing in $6,000-7,000 worth of special effects and pyro, and these, like I said, local band, local bands. Yeah, we don't get this stuff.
That's
awesome.
Interesting. That's really very, very interesting. That's great.
Just don't light my wig on fire. Run out of them.
Stand in your spot.
I know, right? Remember the songs.
That would be really funny. I mean, it's not funny, but it would be.
It would be. No, let's be all what it is. It would be
on fire.
Are you kidding me?
Funny.
If my hair and hat went on fire and I was doing a solo and they couldn't put me out, but they were trying to beat me in the head, that would be awesome.
Yep,
that would be awesome.
Yeah, I would pay to see that. So,
yeah. You would.
I would. Evil mom.
See, this is the pure evil. So tell me, drumming wise, who are some of your influences?
Peter Chris got me started into drumming, so he was a huge influence.
Who you got to meet recently?
That was a lifelong. Like I said, I met the guys from Kiss before, and I don't get like starstruck. I mean, even when I met Gene and started talking for a little bit, I mean, he's worse than like, oh, squirrel. I'm like, you see the woman coming on in, you'd be in mid conversation, and be just. I'm like, come on,
that's
dude.
How much you care there.
So, but even like Ace, and I met Vinnie Vincent, because I built the whole recreated the whole Kiss stage show, Creatures of the Night, and even talking with Vinnie a little bit. I wasn't starstruck, but like Peter, I was like, because he was such a huge influence. I mean, when I saw that Destroyer album when I was 6 years old, I mean, that totally changed my world. I'm like, oh my God, who are these guys? Whatever. And then I wasn't into music back. I mean, I had like music. My brother got me into Kiss by just showing me the album cover. But then I was a professional artist. I mean, even when I was a kid, and so I would
really.
I do.
Well, we're going to talk about your art on the next show.
Yeah. So from there, I got into drawing stage shows. If I was in Kiss, and what my character would be, and so. Was that
oil boy?
Yeah.
A valuable member to the band.
So, but the Life Tree came from the Destroyer album. that whole concept of how everything was destroyed and everything.
Drawing it out. Was it originally a sketch? The life tree.
Yeah. So
Wow.
Godzilla in the background, just as a kid, I was
and where have they featured the tree of life?
I thought we were going to talk about.
Oh, you know what? You're right. Yeah. Save that.
Yeah, save that. We don't. We want that. We want that whole thing.
So Peter got me into drumming, and then Tommy Aldridge blew my mind when I heard like Vinnie Moore's Mind's Eye. I'm like, what?
Vinnie Moore, yep.
And I'm like, oh my God, it's like, who is this guy? And then I saw a picture of him. I was like, oh my God, is he my dad? Because our structures and stuff is we got the jawline and the cheekbones.
Oh, that's funny.
And then John Bonham. So those three are my huge
given.
Yeah. And actually Rick Allen from Def Leppard, when he lost his arm, I mean, it's because I thought, it's like, oh my God, he's playing drums with one arm. And granted, I'm not as good as a drummer as what I would love to be. So, but when I was doing martial arts and everything, the whole movement of martial arts, and I thought, God, if he can play drums with one hand, well, I should be able to, do something, tricky with this one, and do the whole ambidextrous stuff. So between martial arts and trying to pay respect for Rick Allen, being showy. But also the comic book thing came into effect as well too. When you hear rock music and you hear like, Rocky Like a Hurricane, you hear the big boom. Mm-hmm. I see it's like a comic book when you see the Batman, bam and stuff. I see that with music. So I thought, instead of just going, boom, 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 you want some visuals, you want some power behind it. So even if you didn't hear, that's impactful. So it's whether it's a cymbal smash or something. So it was always a martial arts type of move to impact the actual what you were trying to express, and hitting a cymbal or hitting a drum. The stick bounce. I mean, that happened by accident, just by the stick bouncing. I'm like, all right, so I started practicing bouncing sticks. But the same thing when you're going to do a big accent and you got that big pow. Well, yeah, you can do a big pow, but if you got a stick flying up in the air, it kind of, for me, it gives the visualization of, that expansion. And that's how I play is to that type of visual in my mind.
Okay. Well, our time is going to be up with you on this session, Sean, but you're going to be on our next episode. We have so much more that we'd like to talk to you about. So, I'd like to thank everybody for being with us today, especially Sean, giving up his time to spend with two loony people. And I'd like to remind you all that we have two very special organizations to donate to, and that's breast cancer and St. Jude's Children's Hospital. And also, if you're in the Tampa area, and you're really looking to have a really great time, go to the Premier Comedy Club Side Splitters, and you'll have a night of enjoyment, and you'll thank us.
Major league acts at Side Splitters.
Major, yes. So
everybody from TV, everybody on HBO, everybody is everybody from Dice Clay to you name it.
So I'd like to say thank you and goodbye, and Sean, we'll see you on our next episode.
All right. Thanks for having me. See you.
Bye.